My name's Elise Henderson, and I'm interviewing my grandpa, Gill Henderson. He's going to be talking about some family history, and it starts just before World War I.
Hello, my name's Gill Henderson, and my granddaughter's Elise Henderson. I was going to talk about my mom and dad and some other family members. My mom and dad were born 1915, 1916, which was just before World War I. As a result of World War I, my great-great-grandfather was one of only two civilians to ever be named head of the Mobile District Corps of Engineers. His name was Frank H. Reed, and he was the district engineer in Mobile in 1918, which was at the start of World War I, so that all the military could go over and fight the war. So that was one significant event. Also, on my grandmother's side, one of her brothers, her last name's Hieronymous, he had a sawmill in Theodore, Alabama. Well, it's called Clements, Alabama early, but with his sawmill and his name being Theodore, they ended up naming the city of Theodore, Alabama, after my great uncle. They were in the sawmill business and had barges down at the foot of Mobile Bay. My mom telling me that at times she and her friends would get on those barges and travel across the bay with a band playing over to Fairhope and back. That's how they spent some of their time. I think my family was fairly affluent because on my mother's side, my Uncle Frank went to Washington and Lee, and my Aunt Catherine went to the University of Alabama, and my mom actually got a swimming scholarship to Sullins. I never knew she was the first one in the family to get a scholarship. I mentioned that my niece had gotten a scholarship to track, being the first one in our family, and my mom interrupted me and told me, no, that's not true, that she actually got a swimming scholarship to Sullins. They had a summer home on Fowl RIver, and so they did do a lot of swimming, and my mom and her brother, who was nicknamed Snake because he was such a good swimmer in the water, also had an uncle, Leo, who went to the Citadel, and another uncle named Harold ended up being a Marine fighter pilot during Korea. He went to the University of Alabama. So the family was fairly affluent with a summer home and all the kids being able to go to college, because this process took place during the Roaring '20s when they grew up and into the early 1930s, which the Depression started in 1929, so you can imagine how bad society was with food lines and all that. But my family enjoyed being able to go off to college, and my mom met my dad, and they got married and started a family actually during World War II. They had the first child in Detroit, Michigan. My dad was real good with math, and he was starting his own business with machinery and tooling. And it's my understanding that he went to Detroit, Michigan to help change the automotive industry from making automotives over to making American aircraft in support of World War II. And from Detroit, they moved to Seattle, Washington, where my older brother was born, and he worked for Boeing out there for a number of years. I was born in 1951 in October, and my dad died 7 months later in a train accident. So my mom had to raise 5 kids by herself. So she went from a time of affluency with her early upbringing to a time of very, very austere conditions. Seems like we never had any extra money, but she taught us a lot of skills that have carried us through to life. Me and my 2 brothers have all gotten college degrees and master's degrees. And my 2 sisters are both educated and married. We all learned self-sufficiency. My mom taught us to save and to invest, and basically taught us acceptance of everyone and to try to be good, creative members of society, which I feel like we've all accomplished that, which is a testament to her. So that's a short history of the family, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk about these times.